Hey, my name is Jessica and I am here to talk to you about my NaNoWriMo experience. So, before I do that, I want to explain kind of the purpose for these videos that I'm making. Initially, these videos were meant to be private. I like to keep track of my progress. I do that through writing things down. I do that through videos, and I decided this time it should be a little bit different. I thought about last year when I tried to find videos about NaNoWriMo and people's experiences, and I did find some. I found some great videos, but I also found channels where someone started NaNoWriMo and disappeared pretty quickly, and that was disappointing. Like, I understand, believe me, I understand, you'll hear about that in a second. I understand that it's difficult to complete it. But I feel like if you're making videos for other people, you kind of should try to follow through. And I thought that would not only keep me accountable, it would also potentially help others who are going through the same process. I'm trying really hard not to use the word journey. I watch a lot of like The Bachelorette, and they use that word so much that it kind of is devoid of meaning for me right now. So just be forewarned. So I decided to share my experience with everyone, and hopefully it goes well. I'm going to post it on YouTube, and I don't know how to feel about that. I'm normally a very private person. Like, I have friends, I talk to people, but it's hard to open up about yourself, especially about something that you really love doing that isn't necessarily, like, this isn't making me money right now. This isn't something that's productive in my life, other than it makes me happy. We're going to talk about my NaNoWriMo experience. I have it pulled up on the computer. I think the first time I heard about NaNoWriMo was in 2011, my first year teaching, and it was out of the question for me. That was one of the worst years ever, and I'm glad I didn't start that year. I think I signed up for an account that year, but I didn't start. So that was my first year. I signed up for an account. Big step. The second year, I had just survived my first year teaching, so I felt really good about that. I didn't feel good about how it went. It was a terrible, terrible year. What I've found about teaching is that everyone has a terrible first year of teaching story. And it always tops mine, but I still feel like mine is one of the worst. So the next year, I had a completely different outlook on life. So all of that provided me with new life experience, and I feel like it made me feel more confident in myself at the end of it all. During, it definitely made me question myself and my life choices, but at the end of the day, it made me step back and think about all that I had accomplished. So I felt prepared going into NaNoWriMo that I was going to have a good experience. Like, I had that self-confidence. So this was in 2012. I'm going to pull up my blog, my private Tumblr account. I kept track of my word count really well that year. I have a blog where I just keep track of like different experiences. I did, like, when I was running a lot, I kept track of that. When I was pregnant, I kept track of that. And NaNoWriMo. So let's see. I was so skinny. Okay, I think I have 2 years of NaNoWriMo on this blog, which is good for my purposes currently. So, in 2012, I wrote a novel about an experience that had affected, well, it affected me, but one of my best friends growing up, her sister died of a drug overdose. It was really shocking for everyone. She was the sweetest girl, full of life, just so funny. Her death really impacted people in a way that I had never experienced before. Going to the funeral was a huge life-changing moment for me because I had only been to funerals for people who had completed their lives in a way that's typical. Like, they grew old and they had a great life and people were there celebrating their life. This was different. This was a ton of younger people just sobbing. It's really hard to celebrate the life of someone who didn't get to live. Like, in her time she lived, but she never got to fully experience life in the way that the others who had died in my life had. So I was processing that, and also thinking about how others were processing her death. So I wanted to write a book based on that, just because that was something that was prevalent in my mind. I'm really interested in writing young adult contemporary, and back then if you would have asked me like, what are you going to write for the rest of your life, I would have said young adult contemporary. So that's what I decided to do. It followed the main character through her experience coming to terms with her friend's death and being able to move on. That year it went well. Let me see if I had any real struggles. I'm looking at my graphs. I would screen cap a graph every day. It looks like I did surprisingly well this year. I think the only day I fell behind was November 29th. I had 5,000 words left. I wrote 3,960 words on that last day, November 30th. It went really well, and I can't explain why, other than the fact that I always have a lot of creative energy pent up inside me, and for some reason that year I just like really invested in it and let it go. 2013, I was really busy, but I decided to do it again, and I won again. And I think the reason I won again was because I was successful the year previously. I knew I could do it. In 2013, I wrote another young adult contemporary novel, and this one also involved death. And maybe I'll make a video about why I'm so preoccupied with this concept. It was loosely based on the news story from West Virginia, the two girls who murdered their friend. You can look it up if you want to. It's a crazy story. So I decided to really delve into what made those girls make that decision to kill their so-called friend. I really thought about, could they not empathize? Like, was this an issue with them mentally? Was it an issue with them not understanding the permanence of death? So I decided to write from the perspective of the girl who was kind of like this sidekick, and I read about her experience after the murder leading up to her eventual court case. I wrote a little bit more this year, and I think I enjoyed the story better because there was more of a mystery to it, and I really enjoy writing mystery. This one I kind of, in the middle of the month, didn't do so well, but then towards the end I had more time around Thanksgiving, and I got a lot of it done. So those were my two wins. 2013 was not a great year for me writing wise. I had a lot happen in 2013 that were kind of negative, but it's also the year that I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about life. That sounds so cheesy. So 2013, I don't even know if I started it. I don't think I did. I looked for a file, but I couldn't find one. 2014, oh my gosh. 2015 was last year. I did start a story last year, but I did not finish it. I was pregnant. I wasn't like heavily pregnant, but I was about 3 months, and I was just getting over the sickness portion of my pregnancy. So I would wake up and feel miserable until like 10, and then I would work, and I coached also, and then I would get home and feel miserable and go to bed at like 9 because I just felt like trash. I kind of gave myself a pass last year. I had a lot going on. I was really focused on work and the pregnancy, and so I was fine with it. This year I'm really excited to document everything, and I'm really excited to share my progress. I am so excited because I'm only teaching part-time now. So I work 2 days a week, and then the other days I have the baby, and pretty much that's it. So he naps pretty well. I'm going to write during nap time. He's a pretty chilled out baby. He's laying right beside me on the floor right now. And so I think that it's gonna work out. Ultimately, what's really changed this year for me since him being born, I've thought a lot about what makes me happy, and I've decided that I want to make myself happy so that he grows up with a mom who's really happy. I want him to be happy in life. I want him to pursue what makes him happy, and in order for him to do that, he has to see that in me and his dad. So his dad has things that make him happy and I have things that make me happy, and I want to see us doing them. What I'm doing is I'm pursuing what I want to do. I've known that I've wanted to write for a long time. I'm really excited to get serious about it. It's September 28th. I could start writing today, but I am going to put my focus on these videos in October so I can get ready for November. So I'm excited to share this with everyone. Even if only 2 people follow along, I'm excited to share it. It's really scary putting yourself out there on the internet. Does this get easier? I'm more excited that I get to share this experience and kind of hear from others who are going through the same experience, and, you know, add to the community of writers on YouTube. He's just staring at me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you a little footage of my little baby. Say hi to the camera. Say hi to the camera. Look at the camera. This is Jeb. This is my baby. Nothing?